Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the cryptocurrency market today as we endure this extended weekend for Memorial Day. Notice how Bitcoin has formed another higher low, and we have reclaimed the $35,000 support level where we have confluence with the weekly open, and realize that this weekly open right now is going to now change into the previous weekly open as we start to see this weekly candle close in 5 hours. For those tuned into the Snipers channel, you know I always have my previous weekly open in green, and so we will be looking at the previous weekly opens. But notice how right now with Bitcoin, we are seeing the preferred scenario for the bullish bias to continue, where we have this recovery operation and we are now back above the $35,000 level. We know the weekends are the most manipulated in the cryptocurrency market, but more importantly, we have the weekly candles that are about to close in 5 hours, and the total cryptocurrency market cap right now is below home base at this 20-week moving average with a potentially bearish tail. With this candle closing, this could be a huge puzzle piece about how we're going to see markets open into Monday and Tuesday. And notice how right now, if this candle closes in 5 hours with this bearish tail below this 20-week moving average, that could be an indication that we could potentially see another push to the downside before seeing any sort of a relief rally. I want to talk about what I'm watching for this total cryptocurrency market cap weekly candle that is closing in 5 hours, and then we'll take a look at what's happening to Ethereum, of course, because notice how, just like we talked about yesterday, we came down towards this weekly open around this $2,100 level before seeing a push back to the upside. But if you look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart and you saw that we were testing the 65,000 Satoshi level, you would have known that that was the entry for Ethereum. And now you can see we're finding support here at 65,000 Satoshis. Is Ethereum still going to be the stronger asset? Are we going to see continuation to the upside? And that could potentially decouple altcoins from Bitcoin. We have a lot of puzzle pieces to look at today. It is Sunday. It is an extended weekend. Of course, Memorial Day is tomorrow, so I wish you all an amazing Memorial Day. You guys are watching the Snipers channel. My name is Naeem Al-Obeidi. Remember to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. We hit 398 likes on our last video, so come on, we needed 2 more likes. Let's hit 400 likes. And first I want to talk about what's happening to Bitcoin. So when we look into the more micro time frames on the 4-hour chart, notice how this Ichimoku cloud right now is starting to turn green, and we have had this extremely light volume through this weekend. And I've always said this for those subscribed to the Snipers channel, the path of least resistance when there's light volume is always going to be sideways to a little bit higher. And that's why yesterday I predicted that if we came down towards this channel support where we have found support in the past, we bottomed out at 30,000, came down towards that $32,000 level, and we have yet to form another low. That is still a very positive sign. And the fact that we're above the weekly open here at $35,000, this is showing us that the recovery operation is still intact, but we've yet to get confirmation because once again, we are way in below this 200-period moving average on the daily chart. So now we need to break this market structural resistance level in order for us to assume further upside, and that's sitting right above this major $38,000 level, showing confluence right around that $40,000 big even. And we know if we get above 40,000, that puts us back above the 200-day moving average for Bitcoin. So we are approaching an extremely critical moment inside of this symmetrical triangle. And here's what I'm watching. Once again, as I talked about yesterday, that $35,000 level with this weekly open is going to be extremely important into next week because this previous weekly open, which we always have in green, is going to move down here. I'm going to update this fully on all of my charts tomorrow, but just realize that when we have this previous weekly open down at 35,000 next week, we don't want to see price action right now below 35,000, but most importantly, as I talked about yesterday, that $33,000 level is going to be the last draw, because if this door opens, we have potential downside up to 30% towards 24,000 US dollars. But so far, this candle low at $31,111 has yet to be broken. And so the fact of the matter is because we have yet to form another low, it confirms that we are still in a consolidation pattern. We're seeing the path of least resistance where there's light volume, and that's always sideways to a little bit higher. And so we still potentially have this bottoming out pattern, but that's all going to be determined on whether or not we maintain this $35,000 level, but most importantly, the $33,000 level. The first signs of a breakout are going to come at 40,000. If we start to move up, then at that point, we have 41,950 as a major resistance. We get above 41,950. This previous weekly open won't be here anymore next week, and that opens the door to that $58,300 level, because I don't believe these resistance levels at 44,800 and 49,700 will be as significant if we're able to get above 41,950, since we've saw such a detrimental downside over the last week. We've yet to see a relief rally from this. And so that's what I'm watching here for Bitcoin. On the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, we could assume that getting back at 38,000 is also a confirmation that we're seeing this Ichimoku cloud reverse and for us to see strength to the upside. But so far, we've rejected this every time we've tried to come up. So we'll also watch that. I only use indicators as confirmation when trading. Of course, I focus on number 1, market structure, number 2, price action and volume, and then number 3, the overall trend. That's what you should focus on if you want to be a successful trader. That's what we teach in the Traders Profit Club course. And let's look at Ethereum really quick, because notice how we are in this region where in the past, Ethereum has been a very good opportunity to long. And right now we failed to come down to test this weekly open. That's a bullish sign so far. If we come up and we break back into this channel around 2,600 US dollars, I believe that we'll come to test this monthly open at 2,800. That's going to be there next week. If we get above 2,800, it opens the door to see 3,500 for Ethereum. That's what we want to watch for the upside. For the downside, if we break that $2,100 level where we have this weekly open, remember, this is going to be a lot more significant here next week. We're going to move this all the way down here. We don't want to get below that $2,100 level. If we do, it opens the door to potentially come back down below 2,000 and potentially even come down below the 1,760 level where we found a bottom with this lower low forming when Bitcoin came down to that $30,000 level. So that's what we want to monitor here, this weekly open for Ethereum at 2,100, and then the monthly open for a confirmation to the upside. This right here, in my opinion, is a no trade zone. If we come below 1980, this could be a good opportunity to long. It really depends on what happens to Bitcoin. If we come down, we form another lower low, that could be a potentially flaggish pattern that with completion could see upside over the medium term. So we'll monitor what's happening to Ethereum, but really what matters is this Ethereum to Bitcoin chart maintaining this 65,000 Satoshi level. As long as we're above that, I assume that there's going to be more strength for Ethereum than Bitcoin, and that could translate into other altcoins, because we look at the others' dominance chart, still having a cup of coffee at this extremely important range between the 50-day moving average and the 100-day moving average. This is very positive that we're above the weekly open. We're right between that monthly open, which is just above, sitting at 14.15% dominance, with the weekly open at 13.10% dominance. As long as we're above 12.2% dominance, that's the multi-year support level. I think that we'll still see bullish price action for altcoins into Q3 and Q4 as long as we're maintaining that 12.2% dominance. If we get above this monthly open at 14.25, then we could assume even more strength for altcoins than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin dominance is still not showing the best price action if we want to assume any bullishness with Bitcoin dominance, but that's not a bad thing. Bitcoin dominance coming down does not mean Bitcoin's price has to come down. It just means altcoins are doing well, right? So the total cryptocurrency market cap chart is what we really want to watch over the next 5 hours. This is extremely critical, snipers. We have this $1.6 trillion level, which is home base at this 20-week moving average, and a bearish tail forming right now for this total cryptocurrency market cap chart. This will affect Bitcoin, Ethereum, every coin there is. And in my opinion, if this does not change in the next 5 hours and we see this candle close, there is a potential the next candle can come down and test $1.132 trillion. And at that point, we need to hold that level, because if we break down from here, now we have this 50-week moving average that comes on the table below $1 trillion in market cap. Do I believe we're going to see a lot of downside here in the next few days? I don't know. I think the path of least resistance right now is going to be sideways to a little bit higher. I am open to seeing some further lows, but I don't think we will see anything as extreme as we saw here with this over 50% drop over the last 2 weeks in the next few weeks. If we look into the more macro, then I think once we have a relief rally at some point, then we can start looking at more downside targets as a potential, but that could completely change if we get back above $1.6 trillion. That's home base. Let's watch this weekly candle. It's an extended weekend. The markets are the most manipulated during the weekend due to CME futures being closed. We're not going to look at traditional markets today because, of course, it doesn't matter as much. But this is what I want you guys to go home with right now. And I hope you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend with your family and friends. And most importantly, I hope you guys are trading safe in this market and realize with Bitcoin right now, we're in a critical symmetrical triangle. And whether we break out or break down, that is what we're watching right now. And so 40,000 or 33,000 are the key levels. And with that, I appreciate each and every one of you snipers tuned in on a Sunday. If you want to win Principles by Ray Dalio, one of my favorite books on value investing, comment below, share this video. Let's hit 400 likes, snipers, and let's go ahead and choose a winner from our video yesterday, and we'll wrap up this video. Justin Gerald says, I expected this kind of dip in manipulation, but I didn't expect it to start on Friday. Let's hope for the turnaround. Great video. Send me a message on Instagram. The link is in the description below. With that, I appreciate each and every one of you snipers tuned into our channel today. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. And until next time, I'll see you on the Discord. Snipers